So I'm advising Aquarius on what they should be seeking in a significant other. What is of paramount importance? I'll pull some tarot in a moment, okay? What is of paramount importance for Aquarius to be seeking in a significant other? What quality? Cool, Spirit. This is pretty happiness and fulfillment. We have Wunjo. Sorry that the images are reversed here. This looks like a P. It's a rune, W-U-N-J-O, Wunjo. It means pure bliss and joy. Now, this is fulfillment. It's called Fehu. I am going to pause the tape. Because I think we're going to clarify these. So the number one most important thing to be seeking in a partner is happiness. What makes you happy, fulfilled, full of joy. Give me a moment. I am going to get my rune book. So first of all, for Wunjo, the one that looks like a P. So we were asking, we were asking Spirit, what is of paramount importance for Aquarius? What quality would you, the most important quality to look for in a significant other? Wunjo will always represent joy and happiness. When Wunjo falls with love-related runes, because we asked a love-related question, it can indicate deep affection and lasting emotional happiness. Wunjo will signify the object of the inquirer's affections. And I want to read out this last paragraph because Spirit could be suggesting to choose someone who respects what you do for work, or someone who is open-minded. It can also represent a joy in one's work, especially if that work is artistic or creative in nature. This rune often appears in readings for people who are artists or craftsmen, and shows that this creative element is very important to their personal happiness and well-being. So, that's sort of an added element. I'm just going to pause the tape now, and I'm going to expand on Fehu. So, it is true that the main theme, or the crux of the meaning of Fehu, is ultimate fulfillment. But I've just had a closer look and realized that it is also about perseverance, overcoming obstacles. Let me just read a few quotes here. This is a rune of fulfillment. It often represents something which has to be worked for, but which will produce expected results. This is a rune of fulfillment. Something which you have been striving toward will finally be within your grasp. It signifies overcoming opposition, whether personal, another individual thwarted your plans, or impersonal, a bad situation, time frame, etc. The main point, though, I feel there is resilience. You might often hear of a couple. For example, I had a client, and she was dating a man for years and years, and he had this really serious legal problem that kept dragging on, and so he kept telling her, no, I want to make sure, I don't want to cause you any trouble. I want to make, I can't, I can't provide for you, or I can't, I don't want to bring this into your life. And she was so madly in love with him. She was saying to him, but that's why I'm here, to make your life easier. That is, and it was, I just thought that was such a brilliant thing of her to say. But in that, that she would be an example, I think, of the Fehu kind of person, that can overcome obstacles of any kind. If any person gets turned off or ditches somebody because they've suffered a great loss of money, or they suddenly went from riches to rags, that I feel is a person of very little substance. I think Spirit would agree with me on that. So that person lacks this quality. It's not that they're bad, it's just that they're lacking that quality that Spirit is recommending. Now, let's pull some tarot and see what this looks like in tarot. So, I'm going to get a few splits for one Joe. I'm going to pause the tape while I shuffle so I won't waste too much tape. I would like to give one specific example in real life to demonstrate what I've just explained to you. I don't know if any of you have heard of Conrad Black. He is a very rich man who owned a number of newspapers and publishing companies and God knows what else. He was very wealthy. And he was knighted, in the UK. And he was married to a Jewish lady, Barbara Amiel. My mother actually went to school with her in Toronto, at Bishop's Toronto. Anyway, when he got charged for insider trading or whatever it was, he was convicted and had to go to jail. And do you know what Barbara Amiel did? She kept at the time she was writing an article for Maclean's magazine, and she stood behind him openly, publicly, remained positive, joked around in her column one day about how she had moved the dogs into the master bedroom to keep her company, spoke often about Conrad Black in her columns, and she was so revered and respected for that. He did eventually get out of jail, and they're very much in love with each other. That is a person who has this quality, the ability to be resilient, to overcome obstacles. Some women would be embarrassed, and, oh, what are my parents going to think? What are my friends going to think? No, that person does not have this quality. So anyway, all right, let's move on and get some tarot for this. Wow. Now this is going to trigger some of you. When you find out about this, this is the Seven of Swords. It's cheating. Yes. Yes. And I have no idea what Spirit is going to say here. Clarify. Spirit would like to talk about cheating, infidelity. Infidelity, cheating, cheating, betrayal, fear, insecurity, and cheating. Where have you been? Mary Jo told me that Evan told her that. You get the idea. There is one way, first of all, of preventing cheating. And if cheating occurs, despite the fact that you have adhered to what I'm about to discuss, if you have followed what Spirit is advising here, there will be a complete lack of emotional pain and a very likely return of your significant other. Let me explain using tarot. First of all, if you truly love someone, you will be a source of energy for them, of support, of nurturing, not just physically or materially, but nurturing ideas and confidence in your significant other. If you truly love your person, you will not want to get back at them. You will not want to judge them and post it all over Facebook what they did to you. You will not punish them by withholding. You will not invite their jealousy. If you truly love someone, no matter what happens, you will want them to do well. You will want them to be happy. You will want them to feel like they are supported. If you truly love someone, if you were to hear that something bad happened to them, it would bother you. It would hurt you. If you find yourself wanting to get revenge or to see them get their karma, you do not love them. Exit the connection and do some work on yourself. A long-lasting, happy, fulfilling relationship requires confidence in yourself and in the actions that you have taken and what you have done. What you have done. It has nothing to do with what the other person has done. Remember, in the end, it is between you and God. At the end of the day, if you can look in the mirror and say to yourself, well, I put my best foot forward. I did everything I could to support this person and to make them happy. If you have done that, no matter what they've done to you, you will be at peace. It will not bother you if someone cheats on you and you have truly loved them. You might be hurt, but you won't be angry or vengeful. All right? And you will have an inner knowing that that person will be going through terrible pain for what they've done to you. Why? Because if you have truly behaved toward them in a supporting, loving way and you truly wanted them to do well, they will be ashamed of themselves. When you want someone to be happy, you want them to have freedom. You want them to feel free, not like they're locked up in jail. You want them to be able to do what they want to do. You want them to be able to have fun with their friends when they want to. You want to be able to give them space and time to themselves. You wouldn't want to crowd them. You should never expect or worry that someone might cheat. What if that happened? What if that happened? If that happened, and your actions and your intentions have all been aligned with truth, understanding, trust, stability, you will cope very well. In fact, what will happen is you'll stand back and you'll go, whoa, wow, what an error that person made. I feel sorry for them. They're going to be very, very sorry. They're going to be very sorry and ashamed of themselves. You may have to have a very loving conversation with them. You may decide to withdraw for a while and go stay at a hotel or with a friend or something. But you don't get vengeful or judgmental. You go into silent mode and you pray. And you start listing all of the things that you're grateful for. And you start praying, not for yourself, but you start praying for your significant other. You pray. Pray. You pray that they will not be tempted or feel fearful, because cheating generally happens. The person who cheats, generally, it's because they are insecure or very unhappy. Now, let me talk about your business with your significant other, your relationship with your significant other. It is between you and your person and God, and that is it. You do not go out with your friends and air your dirty laundry. If your significant other has engaged in infidelity or cheating, you have one role and one role only. And that is to go into Four of Swords mode. It could be cutting off contact with the person for a period of time. But mostly it is expanding your spirituality, your mind, your understanding, examining what you have done, examining the past closely, you, yourself, praying, going into Four of Swords mode, silence, healing, and expanding your own mind, connecting with spirit. What, you say? But something, surely there must be some ramifications for what they've done. Oh yes, there are quite severe ramifications. There will be quite a severe punishment, even if you don't want to see your person punished. That is not your territory. Take not vengeance upon yourselves, said the Lord. Vengeance is mine. I will repay. So if your enemy hungers, give him something to eat, or she. If they thirst, give them something to drink, for in doing so, thou shalt heap coals of fire on their head. You trust that spirit will punish them, will take care of it. You stand back, duck, hide, crawl under a rock. Let spirit deal with that. And if your own actions have been aligned with unconditional love, you will not be in a state of fear or anxiety. And you know, I'm thinking of one wonderful subscriber and friend and part of our family. I'm going to name her first name Sasha. I've never seen a more wonderful Empress mother, and she is going through something very difficult, and she's praying. She's her quotes from the Bible all the time when I do Zooms with her, and she's just incredible. And her children, they clutch her, their little hands, you know. She is full of love. She's full of love. I would like, just on that note, to highly recommend a movie. It was sort of a B movie. It wasn't very popular, but I believe it's called The War Room, and it's all about a young professional woman who was married, and they had done very well. They had some children. She was a real estate agent, and her husband was cheating on her, and they were in this they were going down that road of getting back at each other, fighting, arguing, he said, she said, spying, the whole bit. And she goes to meet an elderly lady who is selling her house. And as they're going through and appraising the home, they come across a small closet. And inside the closet, there are prayers and little notes all over the wall and a nice little seat. And the elderly lady explains to her that it's her war room. And you know what she does in that room? One thing, she prays for her husband. Now, her husband was passed away at the time. But I'd like everyone to rent that movie. You would not believe. So the woman, the real estate agent, began. First, it was really hard for her to do because she was so angry. But she began to do it, and she found herself having empathy for her husband and bringing herself to tears, you know, feeling sorry for him, having empathy. That is love. And in one part of the movie, he comes in the house and he's all angry, and he's looking for his gym bag or something, and the little girl, their daughter, he shouts at her and says, "Help me find my sneakers or my bag." And so she scurries upstairs, and it happened to be in the wife's that little prayer room, the war room she'd made for herself. And the husband, first he was very angry about what was in there, and he went in and he started reading what she had put on the walls, a list of all the things that she loved about him. And when he realized that she had been praying for him, he absolutely collapsed and began to cry. And it began this incredibly romantic new start for them. That's what spirit does. Okay. Now let's look at Munjo. If you find yourself in competition with your significant other, that is not love. You do not love them. Your significant other is someone that requires your admiration. If you truly love someone, their victory, their success. There's only one person in this card, one rider on this horse, but there are two victories, there are two laurel wreaths. You are somewhere back here, admiring them, supporting them, happy that they've achieved something in our victory, being happy that others admire them. And the ability to do that requires that you are aware of your own blessings and your own talents. You have your own passions. Your own new beginnings, in your projects. But if your significant other is looking to move forward in their career or in an accomplishment, you should not be shaking the foundations, or getting uneasy about it, or telling them you shouldn't be doing that because you might not make as much money. You should not be instilling fear in them or anxiety. You should be supporting them, supporting their victories. Support. If you're running a marathon, you're on the sidelines with water, and you show up in time to meet them at the finish line. I remember once my brother was running a marathon, and he had trained for it for almost a year. And so his girlfriend at the time invited me out for breakfast, and then we were supposed to be at the finish line. And she was dragging out the breakfast, and I was looking at the clock and worrying. And because she dragged it out so much, we arrived late. And he told me later, when he was very heartbroken when he arrived at the finish line. He looked around and looked and looked. She wasn't there. Now they're not together anymore. Now, this Seven of Wands, resisting and not letting them have fun or have their victories, that is something that will suck the joy out of your person. What you want to do is make your person feel more confident, build up their confidence. One of the things that our little family, which is growing on our channel, do on the weekends, we need to do it some more, is we do a group Zoom, where we clear our chakras and we clear our significant other's chakras. They're not there, and they're not to be told about it. But what we're praying for is that they feel like a king or a queen, that they're respected, that their money increases. And it's interesting that I find that some people initially are resistant to doing this because they're fearful. Well, what if they get so successful that they leave me? And I try to assure them that exactly the opposite will happen. They, in fact, become a little more dependent on them and a little more clingy, because there is an inner knowing that when they are around you, they do well. Their money increases. They are respected. They have no desire to cheat. So, again, you want you want to make sure that you're happy. That requires you having your own passions, and being able to be happy when you're by yourself, taking risks and having your own freedom. And if you're happy, you will really want your person to be happy and victorious. And their victory will be your victory as well. So Spirit says that is Wunjo. Get one more split. I'm going to do this split on camera. We use the wildwood. So Spirit, we've been asking for qualities that we look for in others. Do you notice that the entire message has really been about qualities in yourself? Because the impact that it has on the connection is phenomenal. There's a definite split here. We've got the Four of Wands, Four of Bows, which is the Four of Wands. That's 1111. That is where the Emperor and the Empress finally come together. And we've got you, the Wanderer, the risk taker. As I've said many times before, the Fool is the first card in the major arcana. The Fool does not carry a number because the Fool does not subscribe to labels. Won't even have to take a number. The Fool traverses the most risky but the most important pathway. Pathway 0 and pathway 22, the beginning and the end. The Fool is the only archetype that can and is capable of carrying the spirit of Keter, carrying the energy of God, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, Tao, whatever your God may be, to the entire 78 card deck throughout the entire major arcana and down through the minor arcana. If you do not have these qualities in yourself, you cannot find them in others. In the end result, it was never between you and them. It is between you and God. Thank you, Aquarius, for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.